Americans of Reddit, what's something the rest of the world does that you find absurd? When you rent an apartment in Germany, in most cases it doesn't come with light fixtures, kitchen cabinets and counters, appliances, etc. You either have to purchase and install these yourself, or hope that the previous tenant is willing to sell theirs to you. In my last apartment search, there were even a few apartments where I would have had to supply and install my own flooring. It's insane. I don't know if it's everywhere, but I noticed a conspicuous lack of screens in windows while I was in Europe. It's so simple, and it prevents bugs. I was woken up by bugs in 4 separate European countries. Why? You don't need to live like that. Turd shelves. I'm looking at you, Netherlands. Pay toilets. Water should always be free at restaurants. Apartment rentals not coming with kitchens. How does anyone afford to install new kitchens every time you move? And you can't even take it with you as every apartment had a different arrangement. I don't know if it's everywhere or just certain countries, but having to pay to use a public restroom. Even if you're filling your tank and buying snacks in the store, you still have to pay extra to take a leak at a gas station. I could maybe understand charging non-customers, but if I'm a paying customer of your establishment, I think it's a little weird to charge me extra. Leave windows open without fly screens. Don't you have mosquitoes or flies? Aussie here. Pay money for water in restaurants. TIL, the rest of the world is just Europe. How are you all living without AC? Not the rest, but some countries throw toilet paper in the trash can, and that is fucking horrifying. The wig wearing in court thing. Milk in a bag. That smoking is still so common. This goes for Europe, Asia, South America. Probably other places too. I know we in the US have since started embracing vaping, which is its own problem, but at least we made cigarettes uncool. The rest of the world is dealing with both in huge numbers. There were a few glorious years in the US before vaping, but after cigarettes were uncool, where almost no one smoked. That was amazing. The vacation and time off in other countries. It's crazy to me. But holy cow, I'm jealous. The notion that racism and ignorance fueling politics is uniquely American. Absurd. I find it absurd that many Asian cultures have a deep-seated aversion to having fans on in the bedroom when sleeping. I find it absurd that in many European countries ice in a drink, like water, is viewed with disdain. I find it absurd that in Italy it may be 21°C outside, but if a newborn baby is in the room, the windows are closed up, the baby is wrapped up in a blanket, and people think the red skin color of an overheated infant is a sign of good health. I also find the driving habits of Italians to be absurd. I wouldn't call this absurd, but when I lived in Norway, finding out nearly every store closed all day on Sundays was crazy. Additionally, they put corn on pizza. People that don't wear deodorant. Obviously not the whole world, but a lot of people don't. How can you be in a relationship with someone who smells from 30 feet away? I saw somewhere that other countries think it's disgusting to eat corn and that it's considered food for animals, not humans. Corn is delicious, especially corn on the cob with lots of butter and salt. The cheap kiss thing. The toppings they put on pizza in Korea. Believing media stereotypes about the USA without ever having been here. Soccer. Not the game, but how insane the fans are. Monarchies. The assumption that all Americans are similar instead of a diverse group with a vast variety of backgrounds and beliefs. The weird fetishization of monarchy is something I will never understand. Specific to Europeans, but you'll have no business judging Americans for our issues with racism given how you'll talk about and treat the Romani. criticizing Americans' lack of culture, all the while wearing American-style clothes, listening to American music, watching American movies, TV shows, following American politics, and basically copying American popular culture at every turn. Squatting to shit into a hole in the bathroom floor. We have a lot to learn from the rest of the world, but I do admit that nothing fills me with American pride when I come home from Europe than turning on the air conditioning. What are you all trying to prove? Eating at 8, 9 p.m. and later, I have to be up at 6 a.m. to get myself and the kids ready, then leave for work at 7 a.m. I'm asleep most nights by no later than 10 p.m. I've always thought it was odd that some Europeans could have such strong opinions on America and Americans without ever stepping foot in the States. Washers and washer dryers that take 3 to 5 hours to complete a single small load of laundry. Seriously, how are you even able to get a reasonable amount done? If you ask me, any set that consistently takes longer than 2 hours to complete what it considers a full load isn't worth the parts it was built with. Western Europe, nothing is ever fucking open when it's supposed to be, especially in the morning. I specifically remember trying to go to this shop in Athens 3 separate times, never open when it was supposed to be. Vienna, home of cafe culture, as long as you don't want coffee until 10 sure. Good luck finding a cup at 6. Not being able to buy a party bag, £5 or £10 of ice for a get-together in a grocery store. In China, the spitting and honking to get the phlegm is out of control. Loved China except for that. Not the rest of the world, but I will never understand arranged marriages. I can't imagine being forced to have children with someone you may not like. You'll give us a lot of shit for racism, but y'all are just as racist if not more than we are. Turn violent over soccer games. Complaining that we call ourselves American. It is literally in the name of our country. Weirdly, I also felt that way my non-dominant hand steers better, even back when I rode a bicycle as a child. One with coaster brakes, so there was literally no difference between sides. The no air conditioning is crazy to me, like do y'all need us to call somebody face with open mouth and cold sweat? Driving on the right side of a car. Lack of disability access. Don't give me that crap about how old your buildings are. You had no problem rebuilding most of the ones that were leveled after World War II. You can install a concrete ramp. Insisting a joint involves tobacco. No sir, that's a spliff.